Okay, solve inequalities. Okay, so you just did 4. Now here's some more that are going to be on there. Remember, it's 17 problems. Draw the number line so that you're solving greater than or less than inequalities. You're finding the one number you could be greater than, less than. Sometimes there's 2 numbers. Okay, draw a number line with 0 in the middle. Make sure all the x's in the problem have a number in front. So we want to put a 1 in front of that if it doesn't have a number. No parentheses, there are none. You can't have more than 1x. Well, I just have the 1x right there, so that's not a problem. Dot and circle the x term. Now decide if the sign needs to be switched. If the dot number's negative, it does. If not, no. Dot number's not negative, so that can stay the same. Okay, add or subtract outside the circle if you need to. So we need to minus 5, minus 5. That gives me 1 dot x. And that's negative 18. And then divide. And you'll fill in the answers under the number line right here, is what I mean. So you're going to divide by 1, so it's x, and then negative 18. Okay, so the 18 is negative. Circle, you don't need to fill it in. The nose goes that way, so it's just greater than. Okay, number 2. Back to the process. Draw a number line with 0 in the middle. Make sure all the x's in the problem have a number in front. Well, it's got a negative 3 right in front, so I don't need to put anything like I did up here with the 1. No parentheses. We don't have any. You can't have more than 1x. Well, that's the only x I have. Dot and circle the x term. Okay, now decide after you circle that if the sign needs to be switched. If the dot number's negative, yes. Positive, no. The reason why is because if the dot number's negative, you're going to be dividing by a negative on both sides, which flips the sign. Because when you divide or multiply by negative, the signs of the numbers change and the sign would change. Dot number is negative, so that sign has got to go the other direction. Okay, add or subtract outside the circle if you need to. I don't need to. There's nothing outside. 27's on the other side. Divide. And you want to fill in under the number line. So those cancel, and we have x and negative 9. Okay, 27 divided by negative 3 is negative 9. So negative 9, circle. You don't have the bar, so you don't need to fill it in, and then the nose goes that way. The bar means that little line underneath. Okay, number 3. Draw a number line with 0 in the middle. Okay, and then so if I see a fraction, I need to not look through that. I need to put a 1 under the 5, so I have matching fractions. Now, I'm going to cross multiply and divide, but before I do that, I have to decide if the sign needs to switch. Is a number under your x a negative? No, it's not. It's positive, so leave the sign alone. Means don't change it. If that would have been a negative 2, I would have changed the sign. It's always what's under the x. Then you multiply and divide. You just take 2 times 5 divided by 1. Well, 2 times 5 is 10. Sorry. Divided by 1 is still 10. So you can have x and 10. Okay, so your critical number's 10. Now the line's there, so you want to fill it in, and the nose goes that way. Okay, next one. Draw the number line with 0 in the middle. I'm recording here a lesson on video. Do you need something?
I was going to ask you about what time we leave tomorrow.
8:45 is when he's coming. Okay.
So
All right. Yep. Thanks. Okay. Draw a number line 0 in the middle. Make sure all x's in the problem have a number in front. So, yep, they do, both of them. No parentheses. We don't have any parentheses. And you cannot have more than 1. Well, I have more than 1 here, so that's a problem we need to fix. So we got to look here closer. Here's my sign. Are they on the same side or the opposite sides? Looks like they're on the same side. So we're going to draw our adding pyramid. Okay, so I add just 3 plus negative 5, negative 2. Cross those out then, and before you write that sign, you got to add a negative 4, and then 10. Okay, now that problem's fixed. Now dot and circle your x term. Decide if the sign needs to be switched. Well, is the dot number negative? Well, yeah. So we need to, yes, we need to switch it. Okay, add or subtract outside the circle if you need to. So we have a negative 4 outside the circle, so you're going to make it positive 4, and that means you're taking 10 plus 4. So negative 2 dot x, the sign, and then 14. Okay, now it's time to divide. And cross those out, and we want to put our answer, so x, under the number line right here. Then 14 divided by negative 7 is negative 2. 14 divided by negative 2 is negative 7. Okay, so our critical number is negative 7. Is the line underneath it? Sure it is. Circle it, and the nose points that way, so that goes this way. Okay, next problem, number 4. Draw a number line with 0 in the middle. Make sure all x's in the problem have a number in front. They do, the 2's right there. Can't be any parentheses, that's not a problem. Cannot have more than one x, that's not a problem. I just have the solo x right there. Dot and circle the x term. And now decide if you're going to have to change that sign. Well, the dot number is not negative, so it's a positive dot, so no, don't change the sign. You're just going to leave it like it is. Add or subtract outside of the circle if you need to. Well, I got this 11 here, so we need to minus plus 11. So 2 dot x, the sign, and then 14. Now divide, and you're going to fill in that answer under the number line. So I've got x, I've got the sign, and then 14 divided by 2 is 7. So 7. Don't fill it in because the line's not there, and then it goes this way. Okay, number 5. 1 plus negative 3x is less than or equal to negative 14 plus 2x. So draw your number line, put 0 in the middle. Make sure all x's in the problem have a number in front. Okay. Well, I've got these x's, and yep, that has a 3, that has a 2, we're good. No parentheses. You can't have more than one x. Well, that's a problem here because we do have more than one. We don't have just a solo x. Now, are they on the same side or are they on the opposite? Well, it looks to me on this problem they're on the opposite. Okay. So if they're on the opposite side, you got to switch the right to opposite. So it's plus 2x. We're going to minus 2x to get it off that side, and minus 2x with the negative 3x. So I need to take negative 3 minus 2. Negative 3x minus 2. That'd be negative 5. So negative 5x. And then we have to add 1 before we do the sign. And then negative 14. Okay, now you have just a solo x. Dot it and circle it. Number 5. Now you decide if the sign has to switch. If it's a negative, it's going to have to switch. Okay, add or subtract outside the circle if you need to. Well, we have this plus positive 1, so we make it minus 1, minus 1. And then negative 5 dot x is less than or equal to negative 14 minus 1 is negative 15. Okay, then I divide. After I divide, I'm going to write stuff over here. I've got x, Then negative 15 divided by negative 5 is positive 3. So the critical number's 3. Circle the lines there, so fill it in. Nose points that way. Okay, number 6. Number line, 0 in the middle. Make sure all x's in the problem have a number in front of it. Well, it looks like we're good there because it has a 3 in front. And then there's no parentheses, there's not. Cannot have more than one x term, and there's not, that's fine. Okay, dot and circle your x term, and now decide if the sign's going to switch. Well, the dot number is negative, so they are both going to switch, but there's 2 of them. And if there's 2 of them, I'm just going to put an x by itself in the middle. Now I got to find the 2 numbers that go here, here and here. Add or subtract outside the circle if you need to. Well, we got a plus 9, so we need to. And when I do that, now I cover up the middle, and I need to minus 9 from negative 3 and from 11. Okay. By the way, make this 11 into a 12. I just want to. Otherwise, we're going to get decimals. So I need to minus 9 here and here. Okay, so I need to take negative 3 minus 9. That's negative 12. The sign, then negative 3 dot x. The sign, 12 minus 9 is 3. Okay, and now it is time to divide. We need to divide here, here, and here. Okay, so negative 12 divided by negative 3 is 4. You got x, and then 3 divided by negative 3 is negative 1. Okay, so, well, my 2 numbers are positive 4 and negative 1. Circle, and you just connect them. You don't fill them in because the lines aren't there. Okay, now graphing. If you want to know your graphing steps, you flip that over. Okay, you got to look for x and y. Here's y, here's x, so they're both here. Now are they on the opposite side or the same side? Looks to me like they're on opposite sides, so the best, most efficient way to graph this would be to use the slope and y-intercept rule. So our slope is 2, and that needs to be a fraction. We put a 1 under it, and the y-intercept is positive 3. Okay, so the y-intercept is the first point. I just go straight up or down. We're going to go straight up. Okay, then I use my slope, the slope from the first point. Okay, so my slope, it's up or down, and then always to the right. So we know that one's to the right, and 2's positive, so that's up. But remember, that goes from the first point, not from the middle. So here's my first point. I go up 2, right 1. Okay, there's a line, and now we have to do the true-false test. This is the point I want to pick. At that point, x and y are both 0. So replace both x and y with 0 in the inequality. Y didn't have anything in front of it, so we can just scribble it out and put 0. Now x has a 2 in front of it, so we need to parenthesize, scribble it out, and put 0. Okay. All right, so what does the sentence say? Well, now we have 0. We have my sign, and I have 2 parentheses 0 plus 3. Okay. Well, does the nose point towards a smaller number? Smaller number's right here. It does not, so that's false. So F and T. Again, the nose has to point towards a smaller number. The sign opens up towards a bigger number. Okay, then my last one, 3x minus 2y is less than or equal to 12. Well, here's x and here's y. They're both here. Now, are they on opposite sides or the same side? They look like now they're on the same side, so I want to use this method with the double zero. Make a table. It's called finding the X and Y intercept. Now write the equation down twice. Notice how I said equation, so you go 3x minus 2y and then equals 12. Scribble out the letter with the 0. So here the x is 0. And in this one, the y is going to be 0. And then you just divide each one. Dot and divide. So divide by -2. Divide by -2. 12 divided by -2 is -6. Then divide by 3. Divide by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4. Okay, so that means 0 means stay, and the y is up or down. That would be down. And then 4 on under the x column is sideways. It's left or right. It's positive, so it go towards the right. And then the 0 means stay. Okay, so I stay and go down 6. So stay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, when using a table, you want to go back to the middle when you do the second row. So write 4 and stay. Okay, connect them. Now with greater than or less than signs, we need to do our true-false test. So replace both x and y with 0, but we need to know where the 0, 0 point's at, because at that point the x and y are zeros. Okay, so here's x, got a 3 in front of it, so I want to put a parentheses before I get rid of it and put 0 in. Okay. And here's my y. I'm going to want to put a parentheses around it and put 0 in. So I have 3 parentheses 0 minus 2 parentheses 0. Okay, I just plug it in. I got 0. So I write 0 down, and then I write the sign. And then all I have over on this side is 12. What's smaller? 0 is smaller, and the nose does point towards 0. So that makes it true. The other side's false.